Hey guys, I just came on here and talked for a good 15 minutes. If anybody sat through that on a single screen, but I don't think anybody caught it yet. I was going through my discovery, my creation, and instead of sharing instead of sharing the whole window so I can click through my tabs, I just shared the solo tab. So I was talking and trying to explain different portions of what I'm talking about, and it was stuck on one tab. So that goes to show you, as much as I am wise, the smartness is not all the way there, okay? I would not consider myself all the way smart. Wisdom, on the other hand, there is an abundance of, okay? You guys, I made this wonderful map. I figured, and I have just this little inclination, that we might be having a hard time grasping the concept of Chronicles, how we can go from Adam, the very first man, to Noah, right, and his sons, whom had their wives and had children, and how we were able to populate the entire earth. I was having my own difficulties myself, thinking about the Native Americans and having a really hard time with the concept of this land bridge that happened up in Antarctica or wherever they say that was the Bering Strait. All right, I've always had a very difficult time with that. But this is actually a great depiction, so let me show you here. I also talked about how I was trying to find the world's oldest map, and the one that was in my chart previously was something from the 1800s, post-colonization, post-invention of the white man. But anyways, here is what I was looking for. I actually found the book that Ian and I had purchased, One World, One America, Tartarians and Moors, by James W. Lee. This is the depiction of Pangaea. This is actually what the landmass described in Genesis, one landmass, looked like post-flood. Okay, post-Noah, before Noah. This is what we have. Okay, and if you're interested in the book, I was talking about that as well. This is the book. It has a lot of great information, a lot of mind-blowing things. Things to also be taken with a grain of salt, as it is composed and not as finely edited by this author here, James W. Lee. But a lot of great knowledge, and of course the reference to what I'll be putting together and discussing with you today. But again, we have the post-flood. I was really trying to get a good understanding and a good grasp, pre-flood, on the first people. Okay? But this is what we have around the time of Peleg. So this would have been after the flood, and right before the earth separates even further and divides even further, because we have this phenomenon known in the time of Peleg as the divided earth. And we talked about the Tower of Babel. That was around that time as well. This is what it would have looked like as things started to spread out, separate. Really the beginning of the earth and the tectonic plates shifting to move everywhere into its proper locations. Okay, I think this is supposed to be Greenland up here, you guys, where it says Iceland. I did change it. So I did put this together, and I'll show you how I did. This is my Canva worksheet of all the countries I put together. The way I did this is because I'm going to show you just our regular map, right? Let me show you the regular map. These are not proportionate to their actual size, these countries and continents. They're not proportionate to their actual size. Russia is way enlarged. We always see Russia as this big, scary, open place. It's much, much smaller. Okay, China as well, Mongolia, much smaller. It's around the same size of India. Okay, Canada, United States, hyper-inflated. They're much smaller. Alaska, much, much smaller. So let me show you my source. Remember, I posted a while ago the comparison of countries to their actual size. It was something that sparked the conversation and the idea to look at that today. I didn't find the exact one that I posted on Facebook, but this is another example. This is the Mercator Misconceptions. clever map shows the true size of countries. So this is our actual countries and their size. The light blue area around is going to be its hyper-inflated context that was placed on the map. How, why, where, who did that, we don't know. Have a feeling it was something to do with Russia. Okay. But look how small, right, compared to how it is on the map. Africa stays pretty much the same size, but this is, of course, the size of the US, Canada, Alaska, especially this area up here. This is Greenland, okay? Australia stays about the same size. India, China loses a little bit of its borders. Video here, there we go, shows, here we go, see if it will go, there we go, see, look at that. So given that we have these land masses reduced truthfully, I used the dark blue space that I showed you firsthand. I cut it out and I put it together in my little Canva document. And I like art, I enjoy visual things, representations, so I cut it out and I pieced it together kind of like a puzzle. And I did use the depiction of Pangaea from the One World, One America book. Okay, but this is kind of what it looks like around the time of Peleg. So we talked about, how did these people go from all corners of the earth? How do we have the Native Americans? How do we have the South Americans, right? Latin Americans, Mexicans. It wasn't really Latin America, right, until Spain got there, or till we have the people speaking Latin got there. It was South America a long time ago. Okay, but this is how it looks. And the reason why it looks this way is there is an ancient tale, I would say, an ancient recollection, something that was passed down called Turtle Island. And it was something that the Native Americans used to describe where they were geographically, and really where North America was, the Native Americans of North America. So if we just look at this, okay, we can see maybe they can get the turtle, given that this Mexico portion has this tail and such. I can kind of see it. But in reality, what they were depicting is some knowledge that could only be viewed from way, way up above. This is something like God's perspective on how the earth looked at a certain time, long, long ago, right? And now we can see the turtle. We have Russia's little flipper. We have Europe, Great Britain being the head of the turtle. And we have here Alaska as its left flipper. We have here Argentina and Chile as its little tail. And we have Australia as a little leg kicking out as it's floating along and swimming in the water. So this is where this Turtle Island concept, a very, very old concept by some of the earliest people, comes. And we can see how that is divine information, because it can only really be seen if you're looking at it from God's perspective, from way, way up. Okay? So this is interesting. I definitely, had a few more things to say. I think it was more just me collecting my thoughts and rambling before. But there is a lot of interesting things that you can derive, a lot of interesting facts that you can derive about the positioning of the world, how people moved, how people traveled. It actually made it a lot easier for the first people, regardless of where they were founded, to go ahead and move to these various parts of the world fairly quickly. Of course, we span a lot of time from Peleg all the way down to the different, sons of Ham and things like that. But you guys, that's pretty much it. I got rid of the other map, okay? It just was not making sense to me. It caused myself a lot of confusion, and I was trying to think about the first people and, how we were founded. So I put it there. Oh, and you notice I have Mexico over everything. And we wonder why we have border control problems today. Mexico was not just this part. It was actually Mexico today, a large part of the US, all the way up into Canada until like the 1800s. I could find the dates in the book. But we know that. We kind of remember that from history class, how much land Mexico actually was. So when really people are crossing the border, they're just trying to come back. They're just trying to come back to where their ancestors were not that long ago, okay? This happened not too long ago. So now, Labor Day, we can appreciate our Americans, right? Our original Americans coming from places like Africa, South America, and yes, of course, the Europeans, right? Eventually, our Canadians. This would all be Native American Moors, right? We call them Tartarians, Moors, eventually becoming what we consider Native Americans today, kind of being a mix between European and Native Americans, but really they were Moors. I think it's the most politically correct, according to this book, politically correct way to refer to black people, because they didn't all come from Africa. Okay, they were kind of just everywhere all at once as the first people. Okay. But let me see. It's possible. I mean, considering, it all depends on where the Garden of Eden was, and that's highly debated as well. And of course, where Noah wound up. We know Moses was in Africa, and a lot of the Israelites were in Africa for quite a time. I was trying to find this is just something, okay. 1848. California Gold Rush of 1949. First, there's the United States of Mexico Republic. But 1850, California claimed its statehood with the USA. Early 1800s, Mexico is pretty much all you see there, spanning all the way up. But yeah, this is America. This is America. We are one big landmass. This is what I created. I had a great time. I had some coffee and I put this together, and that is what this weekend had granted me. I appreciate you guys listening. Hopefully this gives a little bit more understanding to First Chronicles and how that's all possible. It's truly amazing. Like, I love reading about this stuff and learning more and more. I'll have more information to throw at you in a little bit, but this puts some interesting spin and more of a perspective on things. So I hope you guys appreciate. Thank you for listening. If you stayed through this long, and God bless you. Have a great holiday, and I'll talk to you very soon. I might come on here and do a message in just a few. Let me get back to the other tab. All right. God bless, guys. Talk to you soon.